Hello, and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City. I'm your host, Cortney Bloomer. Today's show is brought to you by Scoops Ice Cream and Soup Bar located in McFadden Plaza in Carson City. Come on down to McFadden Plaza to enjoy lovely atmosphere indoors or outdoors on the patio and have some soup and ice cream. Our guest today is Traci Trenoweth. She's here with the Sexual Assault Response Advocates, Sarah, here in Carson City to tell us about a really important and exciting upcoming event. Welcome, Traci.
Thank you. Yes, we have the walk run coming up, which is called the Light After Dark, and it's on October 20th here in Carson City at the Riverview Park. We take over the path along the river and we light it up for the night for a way to bring awareness for domestic violence victims and survivors, because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we're lighting the path for them. It's a 5K run or walk and a 10K run. It starts at 6 o'clock, warm-ups at 5:30.
All right. And so people can come out, and this is in support of Sarah and Advocates to End Domestic Violence here in Carson City.
Absolutely.
The event itself is a lot of fun. But domestic violence is not. And so let's talk for a minute about the services that you guys provide, because I think a lot of people maybe now have heard of Advocates because of, you know, your big event, Taste of Downtown. But Sarah is something that maybe people don't know a lot about. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. So the Sarah program's umbrellaed under Advocates, and we're the Sexual Assault Response Advocates. So that means anyone in our community who's been sexually assaulted, whether they end up going to the hospital or calling the sheriff's office, we will respond to them and be with them that whole process. So we're the one group that gets to be with that person the whole way through for years to come. So we're going to walk through them while they talk with the police and the investigator, while they go through that sexual assault exam. And then if it goes to court, we'll be with them through those steps as well. Follow up with counseling and medical treatment. That's truly the heart of our agency. We are there for those victims as they're walking on their path to becoming a survivor. Because you're only a victim when it occurs. After that, you're a survivor. So we want to make sure they have a great foundation to build on from that.
This is a really timely topic. Sexual assault is all over the news right now, and a lot of women are now feeling empowered to come out and talk about their assault and the Me Too movement, and it's really coming to the forefront that sexual assault and domestic violence are not okay. How have you seen that reflected in what you do on a day-to-day basis?
You know, I sat in a sheriff's office interview on Friday afternoon with a teenager who was 17, who had been assaulted when she was 10, 11, and 12. She didn't feel comfortable coming forward then. She's been listening to the news. She's been seeing everything that's been going on. And that gave her enough power to come forward. She was so scared to come forward. She sat in her car for 15 minutes before she went into the sheriff's office to make that report. The anxiety that she had even making that report was still there, but she was empowered from what she's been seeing and hearing from all of the things in the media. So yes, we've seen an increase in calls, those coming forward. It's not something that is always reported right after it happens.
Right.
That is something that I wish people didn't always focus so much on. I always say if someone comes forward, regardless if it's when it happens, 3 months, 6 months, or years down the road, we want to empower them to know that we are there to support them when they're ready to come and talk and come forward. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We want to be there, and we want to be that support for people who are carrying a tremendous burden in many cases.
Absolutely.
How do you think the media coverage is portraying victims of and survivors of sexual assault? What would you like to see, or what do you think has been right about the coverage?
The coverage has been good and bad. I think it brings up a lot of triggers for a lot of those who are survivors. So we have to be prepared for somebody who doesn't know how to handle what's coming up. Their emotions may be coming up and they may not have a clue why they're starting to feel this, if they never dealt with it or it was years ago and now all of a sudden different things are coming up. So in one way it has been scary for those who are survivors, and others it's bringing a light to something that's been going on for years. It's not that this hasn't been happening. What I can say is that it's really good to see women and men be empowered to come forward and talk and know that it's okay and that they will be believed. So often we think, no one's going to be believed. If I come forward, no one's going to believe what just happened to me, or I should have, I could have, I shouldn't have worn that, I shouldn't have done those things. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, where you've been, or what's happening. If you said no, you don't deserve anything that has happened to you. And that's one thing that has been good with the movement, especially the Me Too, giving that power back to those who've been affected.
Well, and really letting them know that they're not alone.
Absolutely.
The number of women who are affected by sexual violence in our country is staggering. And I think people would be really surprised to learn that someone they know has been a victim of sexual assault or sexual violence.
Absolutely. Every 98 seconds, somebody is sexually assaulted in our country. And so to let them know that there is somebody there to help them is the biggest thing I think that we can do for them, and that it is okay to come forward and that we will believe you.
Sexual assault response advocates there to provide support for the long term for anyone in our area who has been victimized sexually. I do want to point out, because you look adorable, by the way.
Thank you.
It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October,
Absolutely.
and purple
Is
the color. And so not just a cute fashion statement, you're actually
Yes.
repping for domestic violence awareness. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, no, it's true. Domestic violence. So that's why downtown you're going to see all the purple bows that we put up. That is really just to bring some light that we are here. We have the shelter. We have a 51-bed shelter, largest in Northern Nevada. We are here to help bring in families that need some place to go, or single men and women. We take in everyone who is a victim. So that's why the purple, yes. And you're going to see there's purple on those posters because it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we just want to bring light to domestic violence, and that there is somebody here 24/7. We're here to
Right.
answer.
All the time, and tell us your website.
So our website, you can go to www.aedv.org.
All right. That's Advocates to End Domestic Violence here in Carson City. One more time, the Light After Dark 5K and 10K is on October 20th. Where can people sign up?
So you can sign up on active.com, or you can stop by our thrift store, Classy Seconds, and register. And every team of 10, you'll get 10% off of everyone in that team that's registered.
All right. Fantastic. And all for a good cause. Sign up on active.com or at the thrift store. Traci, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And thanks to all of you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City, brought to you by Scoops Ice Cream and Soup Parlor, McFadden Plaza in Carson City. Go visit them for a delicious treat. Whether you're in the mood for something cold or something hot, they have soup and ice cream. If your business is interested in sponsoring a future edition of It's Your City, please contact Darla at the address shown on your screen. Once again, I'm your host, Courtney Bloomer. We'll see you next week.